Dear parents, welcome to yet another episode of Dear Parents. Thank you for the amazing support and love you have been showering on us. We have seen so many comments of support and also telling us that some of the strategies you guys have used are working. It's so amazing to hear that. Today also, we'll be exploring some questions and deep dive in some of the critical aspects which I'm sure will be helpful for you to implement and unleash the true potential of your child. Lovely. So let's dig right in. So Cyril, can we have some questions of the parents for today?
Hello Vamsi, I'm Ankur from Gurgaon. I keep hearing from teachers that students require a fixed study schedule. My daughter Rohini has no set study routine. She studies when she feels like it and takes breaks when she feels like it. I have no complaints here because she manages to score well in her exams, around 80%, and she isn't lazy. She finds time for herself and studies with no set timetable. Is there any issue with this kind of preparation method? I have read many articles that keep saying to find a fixed timing that is beneficial, and this sort of habit forming is important. The question was from Vamsi Krishna from Gurgaon.
Thanks Ankur for posting in the question, and it's a very relevant one. First and foremost, all the best to Rohini for her studies. See, regarding this question on fixed study schedule, it really depends. There is no one answer to this. From what you have written, it seems that Rohini is already doing well. She is scoring well, she is doing better, and you yourself have said that there are no complaints you have. So my normal advice in such cases to parents is always don't fix something which ain't broken, right? So अगर सब सही चल रहा है and if kid is studying well and she is scoring well, why to unnecessary bring in a fixed routine? बच्चे को लगेगा कि उस पे कुछ थोपा जा रहा है, right? We are forcing something on top of her, and that's normally not healthy. So I only advise these things to change the pattern, change the study schedule, change the timing, change some of the stuff around environment, only if the kid is not performing well, or if like the child or the parent feels that कुछ कमी है, कुछ गड़बड़ है, score नहीं आ रहा है, confidence नहीं है, and so on and so forth. But if everything is going well, my short summary answer would be don't change much. But since we are at this question and a lot of other parents are watching this, let me also give an answer around what kind of study schedules can help a child, where should you change and where should you not change. Okay? So देखो बात सिंपल सी ये है कि दोनों के प्रोस एंड कॉन्स हैं. दोनों के मीनिंग फिक्स स्टडी शेड्यूल वर्सेस अ फ्लेक्सिबल स्टडी शेड्यूल का. Normally, flexible study schedule works in case of a student who is inherently very disciplined and motivated, right? So in such cases, I normally don't recommend to have a regimented timetable or have a very strong regimented pattern of study or a slot of study and so on and so forth. Because if a child is disciplined, सब कुछ वो खुद कर रहा है, he is or she is motivated, then I don't think we as a parent or a system should come in and try to regiment it, because वो pattern break हो जाएगा. अगर pattern naturally चल रहा है बच्चे का, तो उसको हमें change नहीं करना चाहिए, right? So that's where the flexible schedule can still work. Having said that, उन cases में भी there are few areas जहाँ पर I would recommend that stuff happening. Let me give you an example. Typically, one of the student I was mentoring, what I saw as a pattern is the child was not studying inorganic chemistry, for example. अब वो क्योंकि boring है, okay? So in such cases, I do recommend to have some kind of a pattern, if I were to use, or probably a fixed schedule inside the flexible schedule the child has, जहाँ पर वो inorganic chemistry forcefully पढ़े. So for example, the whole day can be flexible, but we can agree on, let's say, 1 घंटा दिन में कभी भी. That's a slot for inorganic chemistry. So these things are important because otherwise, that stuff will not get done at all. Otherwise, flexible schedule completely works in these cases when the child is self-motivated and disciplined. I strongly recommend schedules and for us to come and probably create an entire timetable. In fact, one of the previous videos, I went in detail about telling parents about how to create a timetable. तो वो सब तब जब हमें लगता है कि जो स्टूडेंट जो है वो इनहेरेंटली मोटिवेटेड नहीं है और अभी तक डिसिप्लिन या पैटर्न में फॉल नहीं किया है. So in that case, in order to make the child fall in a pattern, we need to start it. We need to start with a timetable. We need to have some slots. We need to have an environment, and we need to ensure that habit formation of that happens. And once you see after 2 months, 3 months or 4 months, एक pattern form हो गया है, उसके बाद then you can take a step back and let that child be little normal and spontaneous. I hope this helps, right? Do let me know if some of these things which I just mentioned to you, does it apply for your child, and if you have used it, what are the results of it? Do let us know in our comment section. Yes, Cyril, time for the next question.
Hello Vamsi, thanks for doing this. I think it's important that we parents prepare for supporting our children while our children prepare for competitive exams. My son Vikram is preparing for JEE with Vedantu, and I think it is important for me to be aware of Vikram's progress. Most of the time, I don't know if he's on schedule and studying the right things. Can you talk about some ways to monitor my child's progress for me and other parents in a similar situation? This question is from Samir.
Thanks, Amir, and all the best to Vikram. First and foremost, it's always lovely to receive questions from parents of Vedantu. So hope all stuff is going well. See, it's a question which I normally have different kinds of advice depending on the stage the child is in. Okay, and when I say stage, it really means that is he in early parts of grade 11, or is he in grade 12, or is probably during the last leg, like last few months, 2 months, 3 months before the exam. So it really depends. Since we're talking about now, let me assume that the child is in the normal phase wherein he's in the early stages of preparation, and let me give an advice basis that. But please note, parents, the advice definitely changes if the child is in the last month or last 2 months, 3 months. Then the stuff which as a parent you need to do to check in on your child is very, very different. So I'll reserve that probably for some other video. So Samir, let's assume Vikram is in the early stages of preparation, either in class 11 or class 12. I think here, most importantly for a parent is to develop a rapport with the child. That's probably the first piece of advice I would give to a parent. क्या होता है normally, जब भी ये प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट होता है नीट का, जेई का, इन विक्रम्स केस ही इज प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर जेई. Typically what I have seen is the child is performing very well in standard 10th, and he is like coming in top or top 5, top 10. Percentages are good. और जैसे ही जेई प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट होती है, the percentages plummet because the nature of the exams are tough. They are tough, right? So they go to some coaching institute or some online institute, and their scores which you see relative to what they were doing in standard 10 drops. जैसे ये होता है, parents panic. Okay, they panic and they go to the child and they start behaving in a way which causes anxiety in a child, or they would go to their school or to the institute, and they start asking their teachers that is my child doing okay. Basically there is an anxiety, and what that causes first and foremost is anxiety in a child, one also, and distressed in a fact that okay, maybe I'm not doing something well, I need to prove something to my parents, and in some cases I've seen that causing the child to start hiding stuff from the parent or not opening up fully with the parent. So this, let's call it tension, okay, between the child and the parent starts happening during this stage, and this is not healthy at all, because what this causes is unnecessary strain. अब क्या होता है, बच्चा ना छुपाने लग जाएगा चीज़ें. अगर टेस्ट अच्छा नहीं हुआ तो आइडियली वी एक्सपेक्ट देम टू कम एंड शेयर विद अस, बट वो नहीं करेगा क्योंकि उसको लगेगा कि मैं बोलूँगा तो मम्मी पापा टेंशन ले लेंगे. सो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट एडवाइस फ्रॉम माई साइड टू द पेरेंट्स इज, इसको अवॉइड करना है. अब कैसे अवॉइड करोगे? इसको अवॉइड करने के लिए फर्स्ट यू नीड टू डेवलप दैट हेल्दी रिलेशनशिप विद योर चाइल्ड. Whenever some small such things happen, you still need to go to the child and be friendly, be open, be supportive, right? Tell them that it's okay. So जब ये होता है तो that relationship and the strength of the relationship is maintained. और कुछ भी ऊपर नीचे, ups, downs, whatever happens, the child would first come and talk to you, which is exactly what you would want, right? That's the first step. This step is important, and I'm saying this although the question was on how do I monitor my child's progress, but this, I'm saying this before because without this equation or relationship getting established, you will not be able to monitor the progress of your child. So, ये बहुत important है. Once this happens, trust me, parents, automatically you will be involved in the life of a child. Automatically, आपके बिना कुछ पूछे ही, the student will come and start sharing with you कि आज मम्मा ये हुआ, आज मैंने ये किया, ये अच्छा नहीं हुआ, this I did very well, this I scored amazing, this I didn't score. So it's then more pull than push. You don't have to ask, right? The child himself will start sharing with you all that stuff. So that is what ideally where you need to be, right? Where you want to be. So that's first thing. Let's assume ये नहीं होता है. Okay, let's assume that due to whatever reasons that equation is not this so transparent and so open. Then what I would advise is then you need to be little proactive and start talking to your child. Get little involved in his or her daily routine. In online institutes, like for example in Vedantu, as you said, Vikram is in Vedantu. I am sure you are getting daily and weekly and monthly reports. You have a mechanism wherein you get a sense of the number of questions which happened in the class on that day and how many attempts happened and how many attempts did your child do. Then there are weekly tests and the reports come there. So any which ways you must be getting that information. Be little involved in that and try to create some kind of interlace, if not with the teachers, maybe with the the coordinators or the mentors or whoever is the secondary staff out there, which will also give you some sense of how is the child performing, right? That is one way which is work. Second way which works is try to be little friendly with the students' friends, right? You will get lot of information, trust me, from just being in touch, just by asking ki kya chal raha hai, and you will get lot of information. So these are some of the very obvious strategies in which you can be little involved in your child's progress. Of course, there are PTMs and other stuff which I'm sure you are going to. If not, you should definitely go to them, and which are formal ways of being in touch with child's progress. But majority of the stuff which I covered in video today are the informal ways in which you can be in touch. Again, before I close this question, very, very important to understand that these are the strategies during the normal phase of preparation. The moment child enters the later stages, there are a lot of other things which as a parent you need to do. Maybe I'll cover that as a separate section. Hope this was helpful. All the best, Vikram. Do great. Alright. Cyril, can we have our next question?
Hello Vamsi sir. My daughter Shilpa is in the 11th grade and preparing for NEET with Akash. She has always been weak in maths and strong in biology, which is why she is so keen on attempting NEET. But you know better than anyone that there are components of maths that are important to understand even in our daily lives. Not only is she uninterested in maths, but I am starting to think she is also frightened of it. I have been seeing many articles about maths phobia online, and I am concerned that her overall percentage will get affected by her fear of maths. What can I do to help alleviate her fear of maths? This question is by Rajesh K about his daughter Shilpa.
Thanks, Rajesh. This is a very, very common question coming from a parent of a NEET aspirant, and I'm laughing because this is so prominent among the students who take biology actually, in the 11th and 12th. And one of the reasons why they take it is that they are literally fed up of maths and they just don't want to see the face of math. And then when they enter 11th and 12th, in their physics and chemistry, there are components of math. And they have to, learn it, they have to little bit understand it. And that is where this whole challenge and problem statement comes. So I understand this fully, and it's not a one-step easy answer, but let me at least advise you guys on stuff which I've seen working, and probably some of it you can use. So yes, thanks for that question, and best wishes, Shilpa, for your NEET examination. So Rajesh, what I have understood from the patterns which I have seen with NEET aspirants is they have a general phobia towards maths. They don't want to do maths, and it's not that they don't know maths, it's just that they don't want to do maths. And any question in physics and chemistry specifically which has an application in maths, they try to run away from it. So first and foremost, it's more psychological than actually anything to do with the aptitude of the child or even the ability of the child. So my first suggestion to you as parent and also to the kid is itna mat socho, itna koi tough nahi hai. It's basic maths concepts which you need to know. Nobody is asking you to study the entire 2-year maths, which people who takes maths do. It's just few components and few basic stuff which you need to know in order to be comfortable with whatever stuff gets thrown at you in terms of a problem in physics or a chemistry. Yeah. So I don't want to go technical, but just so that as parents you should be aware about this. Hence I am going into little academic aspects here. So when you enter 11th standard, in physics specifically, there is a lot of application of basic concepts of maths. Okay, specifically stuff around algebra, right? Series, progressions. Then when you enter some later chapters of mechanics and physics, and also when you go into standard 12th and get exposed to topics like electrostatics and electromagnetism, there is some application of basic calculus. Okay. Now the problem is when a child who is preparing for NEET or medical and hears these terms like calculus, they just go in a brain freeze. They said like, "Arey calculus itna tough hai, ye kaise? Ye to mere maths wale counterparts padhte hain." But just take a chill pill. It's not that tough. It's basic concepts which you need to know. All right. So as a parent, what I would advise you to go and advise your child is to first make them comfortable that everyone has to do it. It's not just that you only have to do it. Every child has to do it. So rather than fearing it, I would want you to kind of rewire them to an aspect that if these basic concepts they are able to master, they will have a huge edge over all the other aspirants who are preparing for these medical entrance examinations. I'll again repeat this aspect because it is important. The fact is that if a medical aspirant gets basic exposure of these mathematical concepts and gains a decent mastery on it, believe me, you will have a huge advantage over all the other kids who are preparing for these medical entrance examinations. So then kya karna hai? What to do? My advice is the following. Initial 2 to 3 months. Initial 2 to 3 months means like April mein agar start hua hai aapka pura semester. So then April to June or April to July, my advice would be get your child exposed to basic mathematical concepts. And there are a lot of books available on this. There are a lot of resources online available for it. If you are going to a good institute, I'm sure the teachers would also be exposing your child to it. So my advice would be just stay put. Don't run away from it. Just ensure that your child is, giving its due time. Majority of the problem I see happens when the child just ignores it because maths to mujhe karna hi nahi hai. I have taken medical and they just ignore it. Like that you should not. Like ensure the child doesn't do that. Okay. So just go through these basic concepts, especially algebra, basic algebra, binomial theorem, series progression, basic calculus, differentiation and integration. That's it. More than sufficient, right? Just do that. And also it's not that it's a huge level application you need to expose to. Basic level application you need to get exposed to, your child. And if he or she does this and they are able to apply that in some of the problems in physics, mostly physics and few in chemistry, एक बार वो confidence आ जाएगा, then they will not fear maths, believe me. So this is one of the ways to remove the maths phobia. Do apply it. Tell me if that's helpful. And for all the other parents also watching it, I'm sure most of you whose kids are preparing for medical entrance examinations will encounter this problem in small form or big form. So thanks for this question. It was very relevant. And for all the parents out there, please apply this and see and tell me if it works. Thank you. Awesome. So dear parents, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Dear Parents. Again, thanks a lot for all the love and affection you are showing. And thank you for all the questions you are posting, which is helping us also go deep and address some of the concerns which you are having. I sincerely hope that it is helping you. And as I said before, we all want to work together to help unleash the true potential of your child. Stay tuned for the next episode. Till then, take care. This is Vamsi signing off.